Um, okay, so welcome. This is our team huddle for the week. It's September 24th, 2017, and we are kicking off close week, which is so awesome. We are just having an incredible month. So many good things are happening in the team with your own personal businesses. And, you know, one of the things as I was just prepping for the call tonight was I was just really trying to get a sense, and you guys, most of you know, I pray about what I should share because I do want it to be valuable, and I don't want to just get on and ramble about things. And my initial thought was, okay, go through all the clothes, all the things that we do. And I am going to talk about some of those because there are new people on here or newer people, and I want to just equip you guys for what you want to be doing this week and give you some tangible things. But I really just heard grit and grace. Grace and grit and grace. And I kind of thought like, I don't even know. But just as I started to kind of unpack that a little bit, definitely got a lot of great content that I wanted to share because I think these are two words that we want to mark our businesses as an overall rule or kind of characteristics, but also as we grow and as we, especially with this week with close week, because I just want to tell you guys, I really think that this month has the capacity to be our biggest month yet, biggest month ever, your personal biggest month in your business. And so, you know, there's always defining moments in our business. There's always these opportunities to kind of put your stake in the ground and to make a decision. And today and tonight is really one of those times because we have between now and next Saturday. So we've got 7 days to really decide what we want to do with this month. And there's a couple, you know, things. I'm going to first talk about grace, then we're going to talk about grit, and then we're going to talk about some strategies of what we want to be doing for now to the end of the month. Okay, so let's start with grace. So definitions of grace, there's a simple elegance or a refinement of movement. You know, when we hear that people are gracious or they're graceful, they're full of that elegance or refinement. For people that are of the Christian faith, you know, there's this understanding or this belief that grace is really just unmerited favor, when we have favor that we don't deserve. And I really believe that whether you look at it from either of those vantage points, that grace is something not only that is available, but it's also ours to extend. So grace is an attitude. Grace is a positioning. Grace is an energy. If you haven't yet listened to the training by ENBP Catherine Lutz on SoundCloud on energy, holy buckets, listen to that. Do yourself a favor. It is so amazing. It's also a response. Grace is given and grace is received. Okay. So how does this apply to your business? You might be out here tonight and you might be like, well, one, I've never seen this girl because I'm just new to the team. So who are you? So I'm Missy Hides. I'm a regional vice president. Because here's the thing, you guys, our team is growing at the fact that like, there's a couple people on. I'm like, I don't know if I've ever met them, which is awesome. That's what we want to have happening in our business, okay? So I'm Regional Vice President, Missy Hides, Independent Consultant. So tonight we're talking about grit and grace. So how does grace apply to your business? Here's how it's going to apply. We're going to use grace in your business. I have this written down somewhere and it was really good, so I want to not mess it up. So you're going to cover your business in grace and you're going to clothe yourself with grit. And we're going to talk about those two things and what does that look like. So with grace, first person that you want to start giving grace to is yourself. And many times in life, many times in this business, we're too hard on ourselves mentally. We're not too hard on ourselves from a place of working or booking our activity, but we're too hard on ourselves. There's a quote that I saw that says, making mistakes is better than faking perfection. Okay. And being perfect is never going to attract people to your business. There is a reason that we use script cards. There's a reason that we fumble through things sometimes because it creates a genuineness, it creates trust, it creates authenticity. Okay. So give yourself room to be growing in this business, to be improving, to be messing up. If you go to take orders at a party and you're kind of like getting sweaty and nervous because you're like, oh, I got to do it wrong. the very best thing that you can tell the person that's standing by you is, I'm new and I'm just figuring this out. And if I make a mistake, I'm really sorry. I'll figure it out. You have to get comfortable saying, that's a great question. I'm just not sure. Or that's, you know what? I've never been asked that. I don't have an answer, but I can find it out. You know, when people still, as a 13-year veteran in this business, I am not an ingredient lady. I don't really care. I don't care what are all the ingredients. Like somebody asked me 2 nights ago at a party, what's in the Harmony blend? And I'm like, eucalyptus, tangerine, a couple other things. Like, I just didn't know, because to me, I'm like, it smells yummy and delicious. And they were like, is there any purpose to it? And I was like, I don't think so, other than for fragrance. I should have watched Toby's live a little bit more, and the Facebook, team thing. It would have helped with that. But you have to just get comfortable not knowing all the answers. When you guys are brand new, you need to just be able to start stepping out and doing activity, even when you don't have all the answers. The catalog actually has a lot of answers for you. When I'm at a party and somebody asks me ingredient, the first thing I do is I just flip to the catalog and see if I can get an answer from that. But you need to be able to give grace to yourself, because it first starts with you. If you aren't giving grace to yourself, you're going to find it difficult to give grace to other people. So I was just sensing, because as one of our characteristics of this team's culture is a refreshingness, a place of refreshing. That's so what I want you guys to be experiencing in your business. It's this place of refreshing, of just joyfulness and fun. So I was just sensing that there might be, for some of you, there may be on some level for all of you. I have absolutely had to do this at different times in my business. And you just need to maybe take some time tonight before you go to bed and just kind of forgive yourself and give yourself a break for maybe all the things that you feel will swirl in your head on the should-haves, the could-haves, the would-haves, maybe the decisions you did make that you are like, oh, that was a stupid idea, or maybe the things that you didn't do that you should have done, because all that does is, and I had a gal years ago, she said, stop shoulding all over yourself, Missy. And I was like, excuse me? And she just said, instead of, all the shoulda, woulda, coulda's, she just said, stop shoulding all over yourself. Because the conversation was me just saying, well, I should have done this. I should have done this. I should have done this. And what happens when we don't give ourselves grace, we really open the door to shame. And then shame leads to hiding and typically lower productivity. And we will find ourselves giving ourselves all kinds of excuses to busy ourselves with lots of other things, because we don't really want to face those things that are making us, feel like we're not doing as much as we could. So just know that there's freedom here. Embrace the mess of the life that comes with saying yes to being an Arbonne consultant. I would love to tell you guys, and especially if you're new, that this is all really like cookie cutter, super, perfect little system. It's not. It's messy. It's a personal development business. There has to be a willingness of growing. Growth can be painful, but just giving yourself some grace to know I'm getting better every day. The only person you need to be competing with is yourself. And all you need to be competing on is, today I did better than yesterday. Today I honed a skill that was better than yesterday. Today I was willing to practice a little bit more. Today I was willing to get a little bit more uncomfortable. Okay? So give yourself grace first. The next place you need to give grace to is others. And there's a couple categories that I'm going to start with, or that I'm going to, just recommend that you're giving grace to. You guys need to be giving grace to your family, and particularly your spouses, as you journey through this. Okay? Give them every opportunity to be included in what you're doing and be willing to do more than they are. And this is going to come a little bit to the gritty part. But what that means is they don't know what you're doing. Your spouse, your parents, your kids, they don't really understand what you're doing. They're not on the training calls. We get so inundated with all this like personal development and positive and motive and all these goals, and they don't get that. And if you're not sharing that, and then you're not giving them grace to learn to come along with you, it just makes for more strife than necessary. So just include them, share with them as much as you feel, or as much as they're open to. But sometimes it just takes time. Sometimes your success is what they're going to need. Sometimes just you're simply doing what you said you were going to do is what they need to kind of come alongside. Sometimes it's going to be a paycheck. You know, it's different things for different people, but just give them grace. And what do I mean by be willing to do more than they do? It's not always a more than, it's just maybe a different. And I'm going to give you an example. This is an example for me as a wife, as a mom of little kids. My husband is ultra supportive of me in this business. He always has been. I can tell you in 13 years of doing this business, he has never once said a negative, a critical, a complaint. He just hasn't. That is absolutely something that I can say of him. And so I am fortunate in that way, and I recognize that. But there are things that I do to help make his job easier when I'm gone, in my absence. So like when GTC comes up, I arrange the childcare. I don't leave that on him. I go and get all the groceries. I many times pre-make all the meals. I put them in the freezer. I lay out all my kids' clothes. And it's not that he couldn't do those things. It just makes the job, it gives grace to him while I'm gone. And that's just a small example, but there might be things that you kind of are identifying as you're really putting your hand to this business. Because what I see in this team is there's just this, it's just amped up. It's just leveled up. People are more committed. People are working harder. They're booking more activity. And what can happen is a family can feel a little left behind, or a spouse maybe can feel a little left behind. So to alleviate that, communicate as best as you can, give grace, and be willing to do more. Stay up later, get up early. Those things that need to be done. You also need to be given some grace to your friends. They may or may not understand what you're doing. They may or may not agree with your sacrifices. They may or may not agree. They may or may not get excited about Arbonne for you. And that's okay. Again, inform them as much as you feel necessary, and realize that often when you are changing, it is challenging them, and that challenge is uncomfortable, and they'd rather stay where they are. Love them where they are. This can also include, siblings. But sometimes I find that to be true with this business, is that as people are changing, their friends don't always know how to handle it, or the friends don't always, like, if you call we're just in the season of building. And so I'm just socially not available to my friends right now as maybe I have been in the past. I've communicated it to them. I've told them it's just for a season. It doesn't mean I don't love you as much as I do. But just right now, my social schedule is like priority number 5 at this point, and so you just get to decide, and it's not that forever. And it might be not even for you right now. It's just a season of business, but just communicate that. Have grace for your team, whether again, you're a team of 1 or you have a few people coming on, and have that grace so you can just love them where they're at, whether or not, you agree with where they are or not. Many times you're going to want more for them. You're going to see more in them than maybe they initially see in themselves. But you want to create a culture in your own team as you're growing of grace and honor, and it always has to start with you. You're going to give grace to your preferred clients and your clients, okay? Don't get upset with them when they don't get back to you, or they don't return a phone call, or maybe they want you to do a silly return or they, maybe complain about something. You just want to have this graciousness for every purchase, a gratitude of that. You also want to be giving grace to your hosts. And this is a big one, because often your hosts are the people that you want to come into your business as business partners. If they have one guest, celebrate it. Don't utter a word of disappointment, or, yeah, it would have been nice if you got to add more people here, or, well, maybe you want to reschedule so you can get more people here. You just be gracious and you just celebrate it. Because they're oftentimes going to introduce you to somebody that you didn't know. You just want to serve your host. You want to appreciate them, because we reap what we sow. Okay. So that's important with our hosts. And then the last group of people that you want to be really gracious with is your prospects. And I have seen this a little bit more when we've been doing these 20-minute appointments, because guess what, you guys, do people need to reschedule? Yes. Does an emergency come up? Yes. Does some weird, like, yeah, they totally were in and then they're not showing up or they're not answering me. Does that happen? Yes, it happens all the time. You want to give them grace to let them make a decision either now or in the future about the business or the products. Give them grace if they need to reschedule. Give them grace when they respond one time for every 5 texts that you send. There's a reason that I'm still in this business 13 years later and I still have great relationships with almost everybody, or I would say probably everybody I've done business with, is because there's just this ability to let people be who they are and what they need when they need it. And when they need what you have, they will come to you, but you go and start working or keep working with the people who have and need what you want. So I love this quote. You see, we are all entrepreneurs in some way, striving to be successful at our passions, our jobs, our roles as human beings. We take risks, we dream big, we think big, we go big, or we go home. And at the same time, we expect quick results. Isn't that true? And the grass, we can feel that the grass is always greener on the other side of that success. That, my friends, is not reality. What I've come to realize is that grace is the watering can that helps grass get greener. We can acknowledge our weeds, our dry soil, our mulch, and then we can fix it with a little bit of grace and a lot of grit. And I just love that, because anything in your business where it just needs to get watered, it needs to grow, throw more grace on it. Just throw more grace on it. It absolutely will create that. And this isn't something where we just have all this grace and then we have no grit. They're going to go hand in hand. That's why we're talking about both of these tonight. So now we're going to move on to grit. Definition of grit is courage and resolve, strength of character. Grit is stamina. Grit is sticking with your future goals day in and day out. It's having passion and perseverance for very long-term goals. It's living life like a marathon and not a sprint. And oftentimes we want to, just really kind of have a goal for the next 7 days. But I'm going to really just be challenging you guys. What is your goal for December 31st, 2017? And then what is your goal for December 31st, 2018? And really, where do you want to be in 3 years from now? 36 months, where do you want to be? And start thinking on those terms, because that's where you create that big vision that really holds you to this business, okay? So it takes true grit to live life to the fullest and set aside jealousy, comparison, fear, and selfishness. And those 4 things, you guys, in your business will quickly dry up your business or choke out your business if you are not paying attention to them. Jealousy, comparison, fear, and selfishness. When you compare your journey with anybody else's, all it does is it steals your joy. When you're jealous of other people's success, of a full calendar, of a promotion, all it's doing is, it's just feeding those lies. And when you have fear, you're immobilized and you're not stepping out to do the things that you need to do. And when you have selfishness, we all know what selfishness leads to, right? It just leads to a self-centeredness. It leads to us not being willing many times to do those things that are necessary. It also takes true grit to be you. One of the things that I loved when I heard, and it was a very quick phrase at the Impact in Knoxville, was Emily Martin said, if you haven't found an Ion Arbonne story that you can connect with, go get promoted and be that story. And I just loved that, because what she was saying in essence is that there is a place for everybody's story in Arbonne. So if you haven't yet found an Ion Arbonne story where you're like, oh my gosh, I resonate 100% with that, girl's story, that guy's story, then you go write the story that other people can resonate with your story, because everybody needs you as you are, with your struggles you've overcome, with your career, with your education, with your geographical location. Everybody's story is so important, and you just need to be able to walk in that true identity, and that takes grit. It also takes some grit to accept change and embrace a new normal, new disciplines, and new discomforts. Hello, welcome to the world of Arbonne. I think many times if people really stop to think about just how uncomfortable those first 30, 60, 90 days of the business can be. And that's something as a consultant, as you're bringing people into this business, just letting them know that there's just going to be new feelings that are going to come up, and they're normal, but they feel new to you. And, knowing that success is inconvenient, knowing that you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable, knowing that fear is going to want to rise up more than faith, all of those things. And it just takes grit to accept that and say, I'm not going to give into that, and I'm just going to keep moving forward. It takes grit to stay positive and uplifting through all the bumps in life. I loved when Shelley Nelson said the quote from ENVP Catherine Lutz, what matters most is what you do. What was it? It matters most what you do when you're down. And just that thing of, we've all had, if you haven't yet had it, it's just because you're brand new, you're going to have a cancellation of a party. You're going to have someone that says, yes, I'm going to host for you, and then they bail. You're going to have someone who says, yes, I'm going to join your team, and then they join the witness protection program and you can't find them. I had that happen to me with 4 people last month. At the end of August, I was like, oh, awesome. I got a new crop of soon-to-be district managers, 4 people. They all went into the witness protection program. One responded back that this wasn't a good time and one maybe is hosting, but like the other 2, I think they got kidnapped. I don't even know what happened. Nicest people ever, but so weird, and so you just, what are you telling yourself about that? What are you minding your mind? Are you being positive? Are you willing to just take those bumps along the way? When your month isn't going like you thought, when you're not maybe promoting as quickly as you wanted to, when your team's not growing like you need it to be or thought it should be, that grit is the willingness to stay positive and uplifting. It takes grit to go and do what others are unwilling to do. And you hear that a lot in Arbonne, you guys, but it is a true fact that people who are successful are people who are willing to do what other people are not willing to do. And in Arbonne, how you're successful is you commit to getting in front of 30 people every month with your products in the business. It's simple. It's not easy. Shelley talked about that on the call. It's not necessarily easy, but it's very simple. And people that are willing to do that will promote. They will become a vice president with this company. People that are not willing to do that and do it consistently, they just won't. So grit is that grit to go and do that. It takes grit to work for a focused 15 minutes and do the things that you don't feel like doing. Dr. Tom Barrett, he is an incredible trainer. He has a website called Dare to Dream. I think it's Dare to Dream, Work to Win, or you can Google Dare to Dream, Work to Win, Dr. Tom Barrett. You guys will fill your cup on so many levels. He was the very first trainer I ever listened to outside of Arbonne. I probably have half of his content memorized, but I just keep listening to it over and over and over again. And he says that if I can get you to do for 15 minutes what you do not want to do, I can change your life. Because 15 minutes, it's 15 minutes of call time. If somebody's wanting to do this on a part-time basis, they do 15 minutes of call time 1 time a day. If they're wanting to do this on a really kind of like hobby basis, just a couple $100s a month, they only have to do that like every 2 days. If you're wanting to create this as a full-time income, he recommends doing 2 blocks of 15 minutes of focused call time twice a day. But it's amazing when we go to schedule that, or when we go do that, or if we look back in our schedule and we think, how, am I doing that? Many times we're just not willing to do even just 15 minutes of the things we don't want to do. And we find that we will go do the things that are distractors or different things like that. He calls them gremlins, which I'm going to explain in a little bit. It takes grit to overbook your calendar and face the fear of fatigue. And this was something, you guys, that I had to really just face, because I didn't even realize that this was something holding me back. But I would not overbook my calendar, even though that I heard that was a strategy, because I thought like, well, what if everybody keeps everything and then I can't get to everything? And I didn't like that idea or that feeling. And then I also was worried about like how tired I would feel. if I had to actually do all of these activities. And just realizing that there's just an energy that comes when you're in great activity. And, you know, I heard Dr. Deanna say, this was at Terry Page's car presentation probably 3 years ago, because she was standing by some Arbonne consultants, and somebody was like, oh, I'm just so tired these days. And Deanna doesn't ever say anything like real sharp. You know, she's really gracious and stuff, but she was just like, nobody in Arbonne should be tired. And she was like, we've got physics, we've got greens, we've got phytosport. She's like, why are you tired? And I was like, oh gosh, I'm never going to tell her I'm tired. And she was just saying, because of the quality of our nutritional supplements, you don't really need to be tired, you know. And she wasn't saying like don't sleep, but it was a good perspective when she said that. So just facing that fear. It takes grit to daily put yourself out there and face rejection. You are going to face rejection in this business. You are going to have people say no. It takes grit to say yes to your dreams and no to your excuses. That's from Dr. Tom Barrett too. You can't have both. You can have your dreams or you can have your excuses, but you can't have both. And many times we have 5, reasons to justify an excuse, but all that is that we're just going to end up with the excuse at the end of the month, and we're not going to be any closer to our goals. So as we work to close out this week, because this is a big week from a strategy standpoint, this week really has the potential for your personal business to double or triple. So let me say that again. Whatever QV is in the system right now attached to your name, it can double or triple in its entirety in this week. So if you're at 5,000 for the month, it is not actually unrealistic for you to really believe and know that you could end the month at 15,000. That's just not unrealistic. I've seen it happen. I've seen team numbers double in one day, personally, like go from 20 to 40 in one day, go from 10 to 20 in one day. So if we've got 6 days, tonight we're going to count a half a day, so 6.5 days, just know that your personal QV, not personal, but like the volume connected to your team volume, whether it's just you or you and a few people, it can actually absolutely double or triple between now and the end of the month. So we're going to cover this week with grace, but we're going to clothe ourselves with grit. And I'm going to ask you guys, because this team is really on the march for just across the board promotions. We are creating a commotion of promotions. That's what's about to happen. Like Jiffy Popcorn's about to happen in this team in your personal business. And I'm just going to ask you guys to really just for this next season, for this week, and then you can decide again on October 1st if you want to gear back up for another month of grit. But just be willing to put your hand to this business for this week in just a gritty way. Cover it with grace. Be super gracious to your family, to your friends, all of those people. But personally, be driven from this place of grit. Like Ashley said on the call last week, do not renegotiate your goals. ENVP Lisa Voorhees has said over and over and over again that if at this point in the month your goals seem kind of big and scary and a little bit out of reach, they're exactly where they need to be. If right now you can see very clear cut, cookie cutter, how you're going to reach your goal for the end of the month, that's great, but it's not big enough. So if you can see your district manager promotion between now and the end of the month, because you got these parties, this person's coming on your team, you're going to scoop in this volume, then your next goal really needs to be hitting, area qual, stretching yourself to get to that next level. If you can't yet see clear cut how you're going to get to district manager by the end of this month, then that's a great goal, but you can absolutely make that happen. Okay. Or if it's a bonus level, whatever that is for you guys. Each one of you. So I'm going to just ask you all, these are a couple questions and you can just phrase them like I instead of you. But what are you willing to dig deep for? What are you willing to work for? And what are you willing to believe for this week, for this month? Not renegotiating the goal. So maybe what you need to do is you need to take the goal that you set out at the beginning of this month, subtract where you are right now, and then say, I'm committing to this week no matter what. I don't know how, I don't necessarily have the people in place. I don't have the activities in place, but this is what I'm committing to. And I'm going to put my stake in the ground. I'm going to dig my heels in. I'm going to get gritty, and I'm going to figure out how to get this done. Okay. You need to grit through mental clutter. Okay. A good way to grit through mental clutter is to turn off social media and the TV. But social media, what it does many times is it just fills our mind with just unnecessary mental clutter. So a great way to use like your social media tools, if you find that you're not very good at filtering the mental clutter, is just to only look at the app, like look at the notifications versus just scrolling, collecting information. Because sometimes what you're going to find is that you're just getting, you know, the comparison gets quickly elevated on social media, jealousy, you know, things like that. So grit through mental clutter, grit through what Dr. Barrett calls the gremlins. These are the things that all of a sudden become very important or necessary when it's time to make a phone call or it's time to reach out to somebody like, okay, it's 8:00 on Sunday night and I said I was going to call Tracy. It's 8:00 and you're like, oh, kids' lunches need to be made. Oh, I got to go change out the laundry. Oh, I got to go dust the light fixtures in the garage. You know, like something so ridiculous and unnecessary, but we will find excuses and those gremlins just creep up. He said, you know, people go sit down to go make a phone call and they realize they need more ice in their iced tea, you know, just silly little things. So just, you know, grit through those hesitations, those things that try to pull at you, and grit through the tugs of unbelief that are coming or that you might have right now, because they're there. And one thing that I say oftentimes is, I believe, help my unbelief. Shore up those places where I just am struggling to believe. So if you have that, if it's belief about a QV, if it's belief for new teammates, if it's belief for a full calendar, I believe, help me shore up that unbelief. Okay. So strategy, we're going to take everything out to its best possible conclusion this week. Book 1 to 2 events this week and be your own host if you need to be. We have the holiday line. We have new products. You could offer a facial party at your house. You can offer masks and mimosas. You can offer, you know, wine night Wednesday. You can do a healthy living workshop on a Friday night, Saturday. Just be willing. And here's the thing, you guys, you might be doing some events like Christina talked about on the call yesterday that we reposted, and maybe not very many people come or nobody comes, but you're just continuing to put yourself out there to capitalize on the potential. You know, many times when people say, oh, she's so lucky, luck is just when preparedness meets opportunity. So when you're prepared and you've got your house ready for a party and one person shows up and that one person becomes your first multi-million-dollar leg of your business, people might be like, oh, she was so lucky. She met this rock star. And you're like, I wasn't lucky. I was prepared and opportunity showed up and I was ready. You know, opportunity, if it shows up and you're not ready, you miss out. So book 1 to 2 events this week. Call people that have said they were going to host and they couldn't. Call people that have tried product and they haven't bought because they can't afford it. An event, you guys, is 2 people. So don't stress out about it. They don't have to have 7 people there. It's 2 people. Okay. It's just you having that opportunity to practice. Find 3 to 5 people who want to join you in the Drop a Pumpkin Challenge. And here's what I'm going to just tell you guys, the caution: Facebook posts can't be your only reach out. Posting the really nice image that Tara made can't be the only way to try to scoop in customers or participants for this. The very best way that you're going to get people to do it is to go do it yourself and invite them to come with you. And again, your first round, it might just be you and your mom, you know, or maybe you and one coworker. But then as it builds and you have that personal experience, you're going to be able to build on that, and more people will start joining you. They'll have their own testimonies. So really work on that, because we're going to launch that next Monday. Follow up with your PCs, all current PCs. If they haven't yet placed a 150 QV order, they get free shipping on that order this month. That's saving them, you know, $10 plus their 20% off discount. And they might have preferred rewards on top of that. So be diligent, reach out to them. That's just really easy sales that you can be scooping in. 10 of those is a minimum of 1,500 in QV. That gets someone the qualification for district, just saying. Get samples out, get your full size sets out, get your holiday products out, look at your house, look at your office. What do you have? And if it's in your place, it's not yielding you income. So get it out. And if you're like, well, I don't know where to get it out, just start looking for opportunities. And one of the things that Andy Andrews says, he's a guy who's written a lot of awesome books. He said he will, if it's like, okay, I got to get product out. I've got samples. I don't know where to get it. You just say out loud, help me see what I don't yet see. Help me see my next opportunity. Help me see the next, person. Bring people to mind. And I know that that might sound hokey, but it actually does work. If you just start saying, help me to see what I don't yet see. Help me to see the opportunities that are right in front of me that I've missed because of fear, because of nervousness, because of insecurities. You guys have people, we all have people all around us. Nobody lives in, a bubble. You have people all around you. So really just look for those opportunities. Follow up with everyone that you did an overview with, everyone that you sampled, everyone that came to a party. Go back through your client profile sheets, give people a courtesy phone call. Just really be scooping in those orders, okay? And then the last thing is commit to finding your next business partner this week so that you can get them launched the first week of October. They're out there. You guys, people are saying yes. I think 2 or 3 overviews today. 2 out of the 2 or 3 are going to say yes to the business. They might not say yes today. Well, a couple of them were very close. They're like 4.5s. But people are just looking for this kind of an opportunity. They're looking to partner with a group of people, a culture like this. They're looking to partner with you. You have to believe that people are looking to partner with you. They're not looking to partner with me. They're not looking to partner with Dr. Deanna. They're looking to partner with you. You're in their market. You're their reference point. You're their point of influence. They're looking to partner with you. Okay? So that's kind of that grittiness too of just digging your heels in and saying, there are people who will partner with me. There are people who do want to join my business. They want to join my culture. They want to join my team. Okay? And when you have that position, you will be attracting them into your business. Okay. So that's what I wanted to share on Grit and Grace. I hope that was helpful for you guys because this is just such an awesome week. You guys are doing an incredible job. You're just the most amazing group of people and I love you to death. So wanted to just share that and I'll open it up or you can unmute yourself if anybody has any comments or questions or anything like that that you want to ask that'll pertain to the group or pertain, just to you. So before we hop off, does anybody have anything, comments, questions, anything like that? Oh, Lori Huffman said on the chat, Carlita Nelson's YouTube video covering GoPro Chapter 5 fishing versus hunting. Yeah, that's probably amazing. That's awesome. I love that. And that's the thing. We can just glean so much content from other people, use other people's wisdom. OPW, that's what Catherine Lutz says. She calls it OPW, other people's wisdom. So does anybody have anything? Nope. Cool. All right, well, I'm going to stop the recording.